Hi everyone, welcome to Border Tanks with Stewie JP. I'm Stewie and this is a special edition of Border Tanks with Stewie JP featuring a couple of PYRO replays from the recently concluded 5th campaign, the Steel Corridor campaign on the Asian server. The old mate Skell's been kind enough to send me a few replays and I hope to bring some of these replays to you over the next few weeks while we're enjoying a hard-earned rest from the Clan Wars map on the Asian server. I believe the map's going back up again sometime in early to mid-January. This first game, it's PYRO versus CSB-R, which are a Thai clan, and we're on Phrokorovka. And we're going to have two games on Phrokorovka in this video. And you can see on the mini-map where all the tanks are and where our PYRO at the early on in this game, they're getting a hell of a lot of good vision control in the central part of the map. 3 IS-3s on the enemy side have been spotted coming up this eastern flank along with a light tank, and all the PYRO boys are pushing down this 1-2-3 line to really grab this central part of the map by the balls and really take over a good 70% of the map, I guess, by owning all this real estate on the western side of the railway line. Skell getting stuck right in there and putting some early damage into these light tanks. And looking by his ping, you can obviously see it's definitely before the cable break between Perth and Singapore. Now, having taken out that one light tank, it looks like CSB-R have no more tanks on the western side of the railway line. So they're making the most of it. They've got a light tank down the bottom, making sure there's nobody camping at the base or maybe an artillery. And they're making sure before they do a push on those heavy tanks, making sure that they really well and truly own the western side of this map. Now you can see the lineups on the two teams. Just about all the CSB-R guys have been spotted. They've got so far 4 heavy tanks and the rest are lights, and PYRO opted for more of a light team, mainly T-54 lightweights, a WZ-132, one heavy tank with the popular American tank, the T-32, as well as the Pershing. A nice sneaky shot there by Skell underneath the railways, underneath the trains and into one of the heavy tanks. Now this guy right up the top here, he needs to be really careful. He won't be crossing that railway line anytime soon, otherwise he's going to be facing 2 guns and maybe even 3. But these tanks on the western side just establishing their position while Skell down here and these 2 T-54 lightweights up here do the spotting. But the 2 light tanks down the south, they really want to make sure that T-54 lightweight on the enemy side doesn't put too much damage into him. You can see Skell's on 815 hit points. They're winning by a tank, but it's definitely not over yet. Looks to me like Skell and Asmodian down the bottom here are just trying to tempt these 2 tanks, the IS-3 and the T-54 lightweight, into popping over, and my money's on these guys here just pounding into them if they do. But look on the northern side of the map where there was a 2 versus 1 battle here. You can see all those lights have relocated around to this crossing on the railway line, and it looks like they're just going to push right into those 2 Russian light tanks. They've already taken one out. There goes the second one. Savvy crashes, but it's a pretty handy lead, 3-1. If you can have the lead on numbers early in tier 6 and tier 8 clan wars, it really puts the enemy on the back foot, and that's exactly what PYRO are doing here. They're still trying to tempt these 2 tanks down on the southern side to pop over that railway line, and the way that these light tanks down the south are positioning, it's really taking these 2 heavy tank guns out of the game. And I'm tipping in the northern side of the map there's a separate battle going on, if you like, and those 4 T-54 lightweights maybe trying to outvision those heavy Russian IS-3s. Skell tracks the IS-3, but they'll be focus firing on this lightweight, get those quick firing light tanks out of the game early. And it looks like he's a one-shot now, that T-54. And that light tank, he did well by staying out the way of the IS-3's gun, but he obviously was sniped out from the middle of the map. Now that leaves the IS-3 in a one-shot, and he gets taken out. And now it's just a case of cleaning up. PYRO know that there's an artillery piece just around here at J0, or that's where he was last seen. And it looks like that might even have 2 artillery pieces. There's still 1 tank that hasn't yet been spotted. There's the arty. This is money for jam for Skell. Picks up his 2nd kill, takes the artillery out, and now they're just going to find out where that last guy is. It looks like maybe he's up here in these bushes, I'd say, on the top of the hill, but that definitely wasn't a artillery shot that tracked the lightweight. I'm tipping it's probably another light tank that's just been sniping away. Oh, it's a tank destroyer. There you go, the Repeatable Borsig. And that's just going to be easy. Easy damage for Skell. He picks up his 3rd kill, and a pretty comprehensive victory in the end, winning with the score on 10-4. If you have a very quick look at the post-game battle results, it wasn't a bad result at all. As I get the next battle ready, you can see that Skell had a pretty good game, as did everyone else. 3,000 damage. You've got to be happy with that. I can see this is why the first one. Why it's the first one he sent to me. But a good spread of damage by all the other light tanks as well, and a pretty comprehensive win in the end against CSB-R. But fair credit to CSB-R. Sometimes it can be very tempting for clans when they come up against clans like PYRO, which you'll see in some of the other replays a little bit later. You can often see clans not really taking the initiative and not really pushing and trying to do a bit of a camp. But credit to CSB-R. They had a red hot go, and it was a pretty entertaining game. As we move on to the second game on Phrokorovka, this one's against VAE, Vietnam's Army Elite, who in the last couple of campaigns on the Asian server have been very, very dominant and very, very good, picking up lots and lots of prizes, both on the normal Clan Wars maps and also the campaigns that we've had earlier in the year and last year. They've been a pretty dominant clan. Very similar lineup in this replay, except the only difference is no heavy tanks, all light tanks. 1 Chinese WZ-132, a RU-251 German light tank, driven by Beach Dasbro. He absolutely loves that tank. I can tell from experience he absolutely loves it. And the rest T-54 lightweights. A very, very popular Russian light tank, which is almost has the armour of a medium tank. And you can look here, PYRO aren't stuffing around here. They're getting a lot of vision control. They've left a significant portion of their tanks behind up at C2, using the camouflage of the trees and bushes up here. And I'm tipping that the plan is to work out exactly where all these enemy tanks are, and then act from there. Skell's got himself into a very aggressive position on the southern side of the map, and that's to get some vision control on these guys. VAE are a very, very capable clan, very successful traditionally on the map. And looking at the positioning of all the tanks on PYRO's team, you can see that VAE have got at least 3 heavy tanks and at least 4 light tanks. Having tanks all the way around here, they don't need to worry about 70% of the map, but they know that all the enemy tanks are in this southwestern corridor. And Skell can see that there's at least 3 T-54 lightweights coming after him, so he does exactly the right thing. He's moving up to this hill to try and utilise this rock as well as some trees for a little bit of camouflage, while these 2 lightweights try and shoot from a little bit of distance without much risk of getting hurt. Now that T-54 lightweight now is down to a 1 shot. Adam X, good night. And so's the one sitting next to him. So Skell picks up his first kill, but there's still 3 T-54 lightweights. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they pushed on him, but he's just gotten rid of another one. And now here comes 4 more. So that's the majority of VAE's team there. So Skell does the right thing. He jumps into this little puddle here to try and preserve a little bit of health and get a little bit more damage in. As you can see on the other side of the map, there's this other big swarm of T-54 lightweights. They're going to push into these heavies and try and take some of them out while they're isolated away from the rest of the team. The score's 3-1 as we go to team efficiency Bohan's point of view, which is where this push into the heavies is going. And you can see that these to American heavy tanks. They're just getting swarmed by these T-54 lightweights, and this is exactly what T-54 lightweights do well. Run around, utilise the speed, utilise the quick rate of fire of the guns, and when some lightweights outnumber a heavy tank, it's a very entertaining thing to see, and you often see clans doing this in skirmishes and Tier 8 clan wars. And now it's just a case of cleaning up these T-54 lightweights who made the mistake of separating from the rest of the group. I think if VAE had have stuck together a bit better, the score would have been maybe a little bit different. Maybe not saying they would have won, but maybe it wouldn't have had the score of 10-2. All in all, a pretty good result from PYRO in both of those games in Phrokorovka. And again, a good spread of damage. Even though Skell died relatively early, he still did 2,000 hit points of damage, which is nothing to sneeze at all. And all the other team efficiency guys and the other PYRO guys. Good spread of damage there and a pretty decent win. Anyway, thanks for the replay, Skell. Looking forward to doing quite a few more videos on PYRO's very, very successful Clan Wars campaign, playing lots of different tiers and lots of different opponents. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this replay. Looking forward to doing a few more soon. Take care and see you all next time.